Yay. Hey everyone.
Hello, lads.
So, today we're gonna talk about game Archeterica with Anton on Roleplay Ukraine while donating lots of money for, well, you know for what.
Not to me.
Not for Anton, definitely, but who knows, maybe you're like double agent, role player, also role fighter, freedom fighter. My name is Mitro. I'm surprised. I was very surprised that I'm gonna stream today, but why not? Why not? Oh, those times. And by the way, as for me, I played this game just once, and the most interesting thing about this game, it's what is it about? For me, it's about challenging times, but also about opportunities. And as I see that, I mean, it's kind of fit nowadays. How do you think, Anton?
Yes. I will explore this question maybe in the end, because while we were creating Archeterica, and this situation that we are now, it's changed our view on many different aspects of the game, and I will be glad to talk about it in greater detail. Uh, as Dmitro said, I'm Anton Relict. I'm the author of Archeterica. The most stoic of viewers see me already for the third time today, but now I'm in a top hat, so more people can recognize me as an author of Archeterica. And let
The
me
one
tell you,
and the only,
yeah,
right?
we have in fact a huge creative team. A lot of people are involved in creating lore, in creating rules, creating adventures, and I play a role of like a face of this creative team. I wrote too many pages of the rules, but there's a big Ukrainian team involved in creating this game. Uh, So let me tell you a few words about what is this game.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So Archeterica, this is a game about a pseudo-historic game about Napoleonic era, alternative Napoleonic era, with conspiracies, with occultism, with a gentleman in a top hat,
And gentlewoman.
and
Just,
gentlewoman, of course.
yes.
Who hide pistols under their coat and who fight for ambitions, enlightenment, and the dawn of new time. As my friend said, Archeteric is really about a turning age. It is about the beginning of the 9th century. It's age of revolution, age of science.
Industrialization. Mhm.
Yeah, science against religion, republic against monarchy. Everything is changing, and this is time of opportunity for different kind of people.
Yeah. So if you wanna fulfill your ambitions, you wanna play Archeterica, right?
Yeah, we have special mechanic for that.
Oh
Just
wow, yeah.
fulfilling your ambition.
Well. Let's talk about mechanics a little bit later, because
Yeah.
for now, I mean, it's quite exciting things that you say. But how would you describe the setting, like in one sentence, to make me play this game?
So
Just try. Why not?
this is the game of genteel conspiracy. Uh, Meaning you are playing mostly gentlemen, gentlewomen, uh, who engage in conspiracy of different sorts. It can be a government conspiracy, it can be criminal conspiracy, it can be occult conspiracy of when you are seeking out enlightenment by methods that are considered forbidden by society. And as I said, this game is about changing of times. We call it dawn of new era, when everybody believed that next century will be fully different from what was before, and somebody is happy with that, and someone are not happy. And the focus of the game are secret societies. Secret societies, who, as I told you, they seek enlightenment, they seek to control uh, paranormal, unearthly phenomena. They seek power, but they are not. They can be not evil secret societies. So our setting, we can call it, we try to call it a positive one. It's not about dark monsters, grotesques, evil warlocks. You can find such thing in Archeterica, but it is about, it is more about somebody trying to achieve higher goals, maybe sometimes in bad ways, but in the end for greater good. And while our first focus is secret societies, in 19th century, the players, they can represent secret society. They can fight against secret society.
Mm-hmm.
They can be random witnesses of some activity caused by other secret society. And our lore is built around these different secret societies and their goals. We have mechanics built around secret societies that allow players to create their own organization, manage it, and rise it from the lowest possible rank of minor shadow club to the shadow empire. And
So it sounds to me that to play this game, your character should be obsessed with something. Like every character should have some kind of bigger ambition that he wants to fulfill, right?
That is really a good point. It will benefit the character very strongly. But the interesting thing, our second focus of our Archeterica is the development of character. We have very dynamic, very interesting mechanics for narrative side of character, for building up the character, and the characters develop strongly through the gaming sessions, and you can easily start with a character who is just naive young student from capital city, who just seeks such abstract things like money and fame, and in the end of campaign he is real gentleman incognito who understands the terrible secrets, deep secrets of the world, who engaged, who has very different experience, many different talents, who understands some greater things, and he want to achieve some greater things, and he has changed already many times through his journey. So we have many mechanics. Our game is focused on the development of character, and you can easily start by someone who has no greater ambition. He's just normal gentleman or gentlewoman of his age, of his era, and he becomes something entirely different through the game, acquiring experience, curses, paranormal knowledge, and other stuff.
Yeah, it sounds very cool. I mean, I want to play this game for the second time, definitely.
Maybe
uh,
try a longer campaign.
yeah, one shot was too one shotty. Yeah, and everything you're talking about is very about psychological traits, and it's very interesting to me. But also, I remember the beautiful aesthetics of the game. Actually, it was the first thing that caught me.
Yes.
So, especially, I mean, considering it's the 19th century, a very interesting aesthetic period. Uh, Tell me about the whole aesthetics on the game. What what did you? I mean, how did you create it? And tell me, please, about those beautiful illustrations that you have.
Yes, we were very lucky to meet the artist Alexei Shabak, who is academic artist, and his hand drawn pictures, illustrations. Maybe you will see them on the screen, and you can enjoy them also. They really helped to build the feel of Archeterica. So they're a little bit surreal. They're hand drawn. You can they're black and white. The first idea for black and white pictures was so that it would be cheaper to print. Yes, it sounded as a good idea about
Very
5.
practical.
Yeah, it sounded as a good idea about 5 or 7 years ago when we started drawing those pictures. And now we have ability to print colorful illustrations, but we understand that we have no need for that. We want to stick with black and white. So if our friend streamer Sergey will show us illustrations, we'll see them. Maybe it will happen a little bit later.
Yeah,
So
I can. For now, I can even just. Oh, here they
yes,
come.
you can see them now. It's illustrations a little bit surreal, but you can feel the style we were aiming for. And my experience with festivals and cons is that I came with the book. There are a lot of rules in these books, but people just see the illustrations and says, "Wow, good illustration. Maybe this is a good game." So,
Yeah,
yes, of course.
it definitely works that way. Also, I mean, they're not only just good; they translate the vibe, and that's the first thing you want to experience if you play
Positive vibe,
role-playing
as you can
games.
see from this picture. This is definitely positive setting.
Yeah, no monsters, but who's the worst monster in the world, if
Yes.
not us?
So, aesthetics of Archeterica, it is 19th, beginning of the 19th century, the changing world, the dawn of new time, with a feel of paranormal feel. You can even say some kind of X-Files in alternative Napoleonic era. And by the way, I forgot to mention that this is not historically accurate game. This is pseudo-historic. So we have, for example, no real Europe. We have our own image of Europe with our own countries, nations. For GMs to have a more creative control. So they said, I want to play something about French Revolution.
Mhm.
It's a very rich event in our real history. But you don't have to be a specialist. You don't have to be historian to play Archeterica. We have something that is like a French Revolution. You can just take this event and play it in your own way. Make your own kings, make your own historical figures, kill them if you want, or make them successful. Why I tell that our setting is pseudo historical, because we have images of some real events, real nations, real countries, but under other names mixed together, and you can experiment with them as you want. And there are a lot of blank spots which you can fill with your own imagination.
Yeah, speaking about real things, I mean, yeah, I entered the site archeterica.com, and here are those four characters that are advertising the game for
Mhm.
me. I mean, talking about aesthetics, they look completely out of this fucking world. The woman has no leg, and here is a Napoleonic kind of gentleman to the right, a boy, and a guy with with an axe. So, did you were you inspired by real costumes? Do you use like real stuff and shit? Like,
Yeah, While our game is pseudo-historic, but some historical realism is very important to us. I'm no historian, but we have done a really deep dive into history documents, finding the gravures, pictures of the time, drawings of the time, analyzing costumes. Uh, Costumes on our pictures can be sometime out of the period. They can be like 20 years in the future, but that's okay because this is the time when fashion is very mixed. But talking about lore-wise mechanics, about weapons, about the society, we tried to reconstruct the logic of real world as much as we could. So this is the game where uh, you can hope for some realism of events that are happening, of mechanics, but they are made still playable, because if the things are too realistic, then this game will be unplayable. So there is some kind of abstraction, but still we aim for example, there are different kind of movies, and there are some movies which are over the head. They are too fantastic, and there are some movies that are a little bit more serious, which are more attentive to details. So Archeterica is like this kind of movie that is attentive to detail. No, it depends on the GM, game master, but I hope I hope so. It will be the playstyle of Archeterica.
Cool. Can you call it beautiful? I mean, can you call your game beautiful?
Uh, I can tell that it is beautiful in its depths because we built a game. I am fond of games that you can that are easy to start but hard to master. That they are deep. That there are a lot of stuff to try to do, and both lore-wise and rule-wise. So I can say that there is some beauty in the depths, and I hope that our viewers, that if somebody has played this game, they can agree with that this is the case. Guys, if you find Erica somewhere beautiful, please post it in the comments.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer for a gentleman. But let's also talk about the beauty of the physical beauty. I mean, when you play like D&D, for example, uh, uh, there are pictures in your mind that you see,
Mhm.
and some games are, I mean, more beautiful than others. Just to and your game looks very very aesthetic based. So
Yeah.
I mean, not only 19th century isn't beautiful on its basis because it was dirty and cruel and rude, but your game looks like it's very sophisticated 19th century. I mean, yeah, I mean it's mystical, but and also rude and even scary sometimes. But for me, yeah, it's more about some dreamy um, vibe.
Yeah, dreamy, seeking something higher. I can say that I want to believe that players come to us because of this aesthetics. They come for aesthetics, and they stay for the depths of lore and rules. And sometimes it is the case.
Cool. Okay, so we have beautiful game with lots of rules to explore and engage. Uh, let's talk about our characters. I mean, about you told me that your game is centered on character development, and it's one of the main things. But the first thing you do with your character, you create it, right? So,
Yes, about characters. So, character in Archeterica is built by narrative attributes that can be he can be like gentleman, soldier,
mhm.
uh, hospitalier, medical surgeon, anything like that mixed. And those are not classes. You don't select that from the list. You made up. You can take it from examples. You can find some great examples in the rule book and imagine something. But this is your own attributes. You can take anything until the GM and other players understand what this attribute means. And character is built up of a few such attributes. So he can be both a gentleman, and thief, and I don't know, jewelry master, everything together. And then you take narrative talents, which have to be thematic to these attributes. And you also
So
make.
they should fit your background as a character. You mean that?
Yes, yes,
Mhm.
and you can make them up, but there are some. They have to be thematic to these attributes. Each attribute will have a few different set number of talents. You will develop them, and the way our game play that you get new attributes every 5 sessions. You get new talents nearly every session, and you start with a character, for example, who has two attributes and two talents.
Call them. Let's be specific.
Yeah, for example, if it is gentleman, his talents can be education and connections, for
Uh-huh.
example. If he is a student, his talents can be quick thinking, for example, and I don't know, good knowledge of the city, or
Uh,
or
so
his
he's
stoic ability.
so he could be good at riddles,
Yes,
at urban riddles. Okay, not bad
yes,
for the start.
and the character. So you start with one. Also, you can take negatives, but in English version we call them burdens. It's
Hmm.
the negative point sides of your character, his weaknesses.
Hmm.
When you role play them, you get more experience, and you get experience points in attributes, narrative attributes that you use, and that
And you
means
get more talents then.
you get more
Like,
talents. You get your talents to the higher levels, and the
mhm.
talents influences the roles, the challenges that you do, and by the end of like 15 sessions, your character will have a lot of different talents, a lot of different attributes. He will be very broad character. He will not be, sorry for comparison, like ninth level monk, human monk, and that is maybe
I mean,
some.
just for example, D&D again. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, that is good starting point. So we aimed for broad to
yeah. So
character
more.
with
Uh,
yeah.
can I put it like more about living person than
Yeah,
artificial thing?
yeah. Archeterica is where it is more about society. It is game more about society, secret societies, civil
About
society.
connections.
Uh, yes, and that is important for a character to be believable, to have a profession, to have a normal time job, to have some social status, and that is important thing of the game. To have weaknesses, burdens, which ties him up with the society he lives in. So this narrative part, it is as it goes, it is very dynamic, it is very broad, and it is
Mm.
very creative. And our veteran players, they find special joy in trying to create the characters with the most interesting, unique talents and attributes that are
Yes.
sound at first like something very narrow. For example, this.
Sniffing.
Uh,
Sniffing.
yeah, for example, but then using it in creative ways during the game itself. So everybody says, yeah, that is a great talent for the great use of talents.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, let's continue our specific example. I mean, the world of 19th century was very dangerous, and your world sound like much more dangerous that it really was. And if you are a student and you're a clever person and you know city, the city could be rough sometimes, and if you're in trouble, like every game has its combats, and yeah, some games are more about combat. I mean, Archeterica is definitely not about combat itself, but it has some specific mechanics and combats, right?
Yes. So about combat in Archeterica, we aimed for the combat which gives us the feel of fencing, the feel of reactive combat. So we have the dynamic initiative.
Hmm.
At the start of each combat round, you roll 2d6. By the way, I forgot to tell that this game is based on 2d6. Everything you roll on 2d6. And you roll 2d6, you got your action points. And those with the higher action points, number of action points, they do their movements. They can attack somebody. They can do anything else. And those who they attack in close quarters can do reactions. And we have 6 fencing styles. Each of them has 6 fencing moves, and it is built somebody attack, somebody do a reaction, and it can be chose from variety of different type of reactions. It can be counter attack, it can be blocking, and can be trying to send this enemy attack to its friend, and so you get very dynamic fencing. And each round the situation is different. When you do some actions, you lose these action points, and the next person with highest action points then do their turn, and you all the time react on the stuff you do. And so the combat is then very dynamic. You all the time you have to see what is going on. I can't tell that it is hard to play in combat. It's quite easy. I have played on the festivals with newbies for whose it was their first game, a TTRPG game ever. And I just explained them in 1-2 minutes, and they started playing. And
So,
also,
so the combat has this fast adrenaline feeling in it.
yes, it can be very reactive. There can be place for epic comebacks, epic. You're not only attacking somebody and he's just losing his hit points, and then he attack you back and you lose your hit points. Even 1-2 hits can end the character, so it is a very high stakes thing. And also we have a very historic. I believe we worked there to be historically accurate arsenal of weapons. Uh, Adding black powder, guns, pistols, muskets, blunderbusses, different types of rifles, and different types of cold weapon, sabers, small swords. Everything has its own rules, a little bit unique, that add this taste that when gentleman with a small sword is fighting against gentleman with a saber, there's some nuances that you will feel the difference
Yeah, I mean,
between.
for me, it sounds a little bit too crazy. I mean, I can't even imagine how could it be in real life, but in game, much harder. Also, this black powder thing. I mean, I guess it's the stumble rock in every game that has it. So, and 19th century is actually the century when black powder is used so much and so often. And when you have guns, you don't need sabers, right? I mean, you can just shoot. But still, in 19th century, there were a lot of cold weapons. So, just a question. I mean, just a short question. For example, yeah, I am a student and I'm clever enough to know the city. And I'm not the fancier fencer, but I can shoot. And I meet like some darky old man in anywhere,
Mhm.
and he attacks me with saber, and I shoot him. I mean, how fast will I win this battle? Or will I win this battle? I mean, does it really matter that I have a pistol?
So this is the reason why I can tell that we have balanced firefights and cold weapons in this game. Because of course, if you're talking about skirmish, the big war battles, then the gunpowder wins absolutely.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the same thing is in Archeterica. If you take a big scale fight on big distances, black powder rules. But considering that everything is Archeterica is more about conspiracy, about fights in alleys,
And
fights in
lanes.
the halls, hall rooms. That is why you can be both good fighter, close combat fighter. You can be good ranged weapons in Archeterica. Uh, Combat rules are more strict than narrative rules, and they just. I personally prefer to build a balanced character, but you can do a great firefighter who is good with many pistols, or you can do a man who not know how to reload gunpowder weapon, but he is good with his axe. And situation you described, if a student is not lucky, he will be cut to pieces very quickly if
Yeah,
somebody
I get it.
with cold weapon is close to him. But if there's some distance between them, he has some support or his few shots that he can take before he run out of weapons, because 19th century all the weapons are one shot.
Yeah, yeah, I know that.
You can reload weapons in Archeterica, but it will take you a lot of
A lot
rounds.
of time.
So you have to be very tactical about when you shoot, who you shoot, do aim before shooting. It gets very tactical very quickly.
Yeah, so if I get it right, and I think I do, you try to. I mean, your combat rules are your combat. I mean, your combat system, your combat mechanics is pretty much close to IRL. So yeah, you can shoot, but if the person doesn't have the pistol and he knows you have a pistol, he will just walk around you and stab you in your back. So
Yeah,
I mean, does the last question about combat
I
the
can
most?
answer that we
Yeah.
try to do combat cinematic, but in the way like realistic movie cinematic,
Mhm.
not heroic movie animal like John Wick or anything like that.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves. We just don't talk about this kind of superheroes.
Yes.
Um, the last question: how often will I get fights if I play Archeterica?
So they can easily be adventures with no fight at all, or they can be great adventures that are built on combat encounters. This
So it
is
depends on GM.
Yeah, it depends on the GM. It depends on what you want, and what is great that your character develops his narrative abilities and his combat abilities independently. So you
Hmm.
don't have to choose, will you be social character,
Mm.
social, or he will be fighter. He can be both at the same time, and he gets combat experience if he fights, and he gets narrative experience like social experience if he practice social stuff.
Yeah. By the
And
way, it's a very good point. Thank you.
it is like the pinnacle of gentlemanship in Archeterica. It is a character who is highly developed as a social figure. He is
Personality.
good in martial arts. He's also enlightened and has some paranormal abilities and knowledge. And he's also part of great secret society. And this is the perfect character. And also our system, we have really like down to earth system with stress mechanics. We have a system with injuries, with insanities that a character can gain. And but they are not to punish your character, but to develop him more. So your experienced character, he will have like, I don't know, maybe he lost his hand. He has three different insanities going on. He has got five different mystical curses on him. But
Yeah,
this
but
makes
he hangs out with demons, right?
yeah, but it makes him more interesting. And you just seeing him and oh, I started playing this guy a year ago, and he was young, naive student, and now
Yeah,
he
and
is somebody else.
he's fencing just with one left hand, like so cool. Yeah, for me, I mean, I hope I would not. Як там буду ображати?
Insult.
Yeah, I would not insult nobody, but there is this system. It's called Unknown Armies, and Archeterica sounds pretty much like it in a good way, because a lot of stress, a lot of real life experience, a lot of insanities and shit and stuff that should break you. But your main thing is not to win all the battles in the game. Your main thing is to come through adventures and become another you, maybe
Yeah.
more cool, maybe less cool, maybe you want to become the worst villain ever, but you should do it in real life. So for now, I can tell that your game is about sophisticated adventures and personality improvement. Yeah, with a lot of aesthetics actually, and black powder and fencing, and of course, by the way, ritualistic and mystic stuff.
You know, when I said that this game has great depth, it is because of our additional rules. For forbidden arts, you can build your own ritualistic practice. The rituals, you can do rituals, you can build your own secret society, you can do medical experimentations on people and just to try to sew back the lost hand, but you will need to use forbidden diablics artifacts, unearthly artifacts. And there are rules which are game inside the game itself for this. If you enjoy complex mechanics, if you enjoy building complex systems, you try to play in this sandbox where you build in your own secret society. Uh, you're powering it with forbidden rituals, which are very weak at first. They do nothing at first. But when you master them, you can influence your enemies, you can influence the whole nations, and you will face adversaries who are not happy with you doing such stuff. And this is the thing why in the Ukrainian community, Archeterica has a notorious uh, like reputation for being a big book for 600 pages, but that is mostly because of those additional rules, and they are not. They're not needed. Our most games that I play now, they played with quick start rules that are 10 pages long.
Yeah,
And
and by additional rules, sorry to interrupt, but I'm quite interested here as a wannabe Archeterica player. So by additional rules, you mean rules that you need to know to become an insane spiritualist, or what are you talking about?
yeah, you can play in Mystic. You can play as a cult master and never touch the rules of ritualism. That's okay. You can just play in it. But if you want to delve, if you want it, you can build a game upon. You can build your game upon those additional rules. And we have like three different forbidden arts: ritualism, meta hero meta medicine when you experiment on people, meta engineering when you experiment with unearthed materials. Then there are special rules for building secret society and special rules for your ambitions that can be anything like writing your own book, becoming a mayor, studying some secrets. We have rules for forbidden literacy books, a lot of that, and you can dive in that if you want. If you want to build a game without those additional stuff, you can easily.
Yeah, just for example, let's try to speak it about it shortly. Yeah, I'm playing the game and I want to create my secret society. Like, what rules should I know briefly?
So you just build your society almost in the same way as you build it with as a character. You build it from different attributes that you
Mm.
select.
Mhm.
You can guess your own attributes, and it's funny thing that you can vassalize other secret organizations if you have enough prestige. If you are more prestigious than them, if you feel weak, you can find a suzerain for yourself that is more prestigious than you. For example, you are a minor club, you can find a secret league to vassalize you, to protect you, but they will some way control you. But someday you can overthrow them, and we have big games where players are trying to vassalize each other, overthrow each other, and it is fun. But it is intended to play as one party, building their own secret society,
Uh-huh.
developing it all over the time. It is, for example, it is more detailed than criminal organizations in Blades in the Darks. Blades in the Dark, it's more complicated, but I think it fits the theme of their game.
Yeah, cool. Can I buy the prestige points with money?
You can buy with money everything if you know who to pay.
It's the best answer I could get. Okay, so if you don't want to add something on the mechanics,
Yeah.
let's go further to our, I don't know, dessert. Let's call it that.
Yes.
Well, a stripling like you asking me in confidence for advice. How am I to fulfill all my ambitions when the world around me is changing so quickly, you pled? My advice is simple. Find your secret society. We stand at the dawn of a new time, my friend. Today, revolutionary ideas and private companies reign. But nobility? Nobility is still at a premium. And so there is nothing better than entering into an alliance with an elite circle of the sophisticated and the powerful, like-minded persons, if you will. Former and future rulers gather on the sidelines to plan our tomorrows. Perhaps your place lies with them. Or perhaps you might lend your attention to these good people. They move incognito and with cold hearts, and they fear neither vaster forces nor their so-called betters. Their emotions are merciless, as grand and binding as the lust will of a tyrant. And their calculations, elegant and clean, like a surgeon's cut. They deliberately test the limits of what is possible, unafraid to cross the threshold of what is permitted. If you would knock at the same forbidden door, then perhaps you should join them. But heed me further. If yours is truly a far-wandering mind, it will need suitable company, and quacks and pseudoscientists are always in fashion. Their craft is ancient and surprisingly effective. Side by side with ghosts and spirits, they sip poisonous truths from old tomes, and they have grown so used to the savor of such venom that they have forgotten what the world of gentlefolk even looks like. Their journeys through the dream of the earth are memorable indeed. Join them, if you can. That is, of course, if you can manage not to forget yourself utterly there. In short, my young friend, find your secret society, your shadow companions. Seize the enlightenment. Taste the conspiracy. And impress us with your ambitions. The main stage at the Shadow Theater is all yours, and I am a most appreciative audience.
Yeah, it was the secret premiere, and I didn't hear a thing, but but it was beautiful anyways. I think we can post the link for someone who didn't hear a thing also.
Guys, that was the trailer, live action trailer for Archeterica. I hope you enjoyed it. And thank you for Dmitro lending his awesome voice. I think you recognize the voice from this video being Dmitro's voice. So, Dmitro, thank you. And that was our video, which I hope it gives you the feel what you can engage with in our game of Archeterica. And thank you to great crew who helped it to become real. And if we went to doing a promotional trailer, there is one great reason, for that.
Tell me about it.
So we plan on going for Kickstarter, and you already can find a link to Kickstarter pre-launch at our Discord virtual stand, and I invite you to sign up for our pre-launch, to visit our website, to join our Discord to play games of Archetype with us. And if you are interested in playtesting, you can find a special Google form. Just fill it up, and we will contact you and give you access to our conspiracy.